Hello everyone, I'm Tyler. I'm going to be giving my informative speech. I'm going to be interviewing a former graduate assistant from the University of Creighton. I've got my brother here listening in. He's going to be a really good fan of me here. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of open up, do some basic introduction stuff, and then I'm going to flip over to the interview itself, okay? So to start off, I'm going to lead with a quote by Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can change the world. Okay, so what I'm going to get into here is the career path of becoming a professor, trying to get into education, and so basically why it's important. So one of the reasons education is so important is what Nelson Mandela said. It's the weapon to change the world. And so how are you going to get there? You got to go to school for a long time. You got to do your high school careers, then you got to get your undergrad done, do whatever, and then you're going to go get your master's in education, or maybe even further your education in what you did in undergrad. Okay, and so I have an interest in that. I really like helping people. I feel like I learn better when I help people, and I just want to learn as much as I can about a particular topic that I'm passionate about. So I'm going to flip over to the interview and we're going to see. What's up, guys? I'm here doing my interview speech with
Charles Robert.
He was a graduate assistant at the University of Creighton, and he's going to kind of tell us a little bit about what he did.
When I went up to Creighton, I had actually two jobs while I was there. I was a graduate assistant in the basketball program with Eddie Sutton, and I was a graduate assistant in the baseball program with Larry Koshel. And I was there for a year and a half while I got my master's degree.
Wow, very impressive resume on this guy here. All right, so Charles, I'm going to ask you some questions, I guess just to kind of cover what you did, or not necessarily what you did, but what got you into teaching, what made you want to do it, some specifics. So, question one, what inspired you to pursue a career in academics?
Be honest with you, it was a combined career in academics and athletics. Eddie Sutton is the one that he was my high school basketball coach. I played for him for 3 years and really admired Eddie, and of course later on went with him as a GA up at Creighton, but he was probably the biggest influence.
Sure. Okay. So academically and athletically speaking, what was probably the most rewarding thing about being a graduate assistant?
Oh, seeing players come in, getting an opportunity to visit with them and maybe their families, and hopefully build the program up. It was a good program when we got there.
Now, what was probably the hardest thing you had to endure during your role as a graduate assistant?
I don't know. Just probably balancing the academic end of it with the graduate assistantship part of it. That sometimes that could be hard, and but keeping up on the academics was really important. I went there for the reason I went there was to get my master's degree.
Sure. How, I guess, would you describe, with the times changing, what has changed from when you were as a graduate assistant compared to now? Like, do you think technology, different resources have influenced, I guess, how things develop now?
The internet has changed a lot of things. You're able to post, I think you're familiar with this, but at the high school level, all teams, for the most part, post their games on Huddle. It's spelled H-U-D-L. Okay, and that enables me as a coach to see my upcoming opponents, and without having to exchange film like we used to back in the old days.
Yeah. Now, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe want to go into the role that you went into, or even maybe going further and becoming a professor?
Just keep your priorities straight.
Yeah, that's good. Can you share any maybe memorable experiences during your time as a graduate assistant?
I'll give you one. When I was at Creighton, I think it was the first year that I was there. We had a really good player named Cyril Baptiste. He was 6'10" and weighed about 235, could shoot the ball out on the floor, could dunk it any way you want it dunked. He was a great talent, strong, very talented individual who could play, no question he could play at the next level. Well, I got sent to the airport. Coach Sutton sent me to the airport to pick up a legend at the airport and bring him back to the or to his hotel, so he could later go that night over to Municipal Auditorium and watch Cyril play. And his name was Red Auerbach, is the guy that I got picked up. Now, Red Auerbach was the general manager at that time of the Boston Celtics. He had been the coach for years, but was at that time he was the general manager.
I have that is you got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool memories over there.
Lots of good times.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
I appreciate you, Charles. Thank you so much.
You bet.
So everyone, that was Charles Robert. He's a graduate assistant at the University of Creighton. But as we reach the end of this speech here, I'm going to kind of go back and hit those points that I made earlier. And so basically, like I said, I really enjoy teaching others, trying to help them, trying to allow them to be the best student they can be. And I feel like I feel a real calling to go into the education industry. And one thing that Charles really hit on, and it was one of my favorite things, is just don't mess up, just do the right things, and don't get lost in your path that you're trying to achieve in your path to becoming a professor. So I'm going to end with this quote right here. It said, "I love helping people learn, and by me assisting in others learning, I become much better at what I love doing, and that is teaching." Thank you all.